Hello. In the demonstration, we will show a composite service that can be consumed from outside the organization. We will develop an integration in a form of a composite service connected to a cloud application and an on-premise application. The integration will have its metadata published in an API portal. The developer of an external organization will log into the API portal and discover the integration composite service. This service will be used as a data source for a mobile application. We will use an integration that provides an API for listing accounts coming in from Oracle CX Sales and B2B Service and compose with a query for orders from Oracle Business Suite. We will show the deployment and test of the integration service. An external developer will log into the API portal and discover the integration API registers there and use the API to create a mobile application. Here is the architecture of the API management portal, which runs on Oracle Apex on Oracle Autonomous Database. New APIs are registered in the portal that collects the metadata information. API can come from Oracle Integration or Oracle API Gateway. Additional APIs can be added via scripts. The API Management Portal and associated services, API Gateway and Oracle Integration, run on Oracle OCI. APIs are harvested and stored in our Oracle Autonomous Database. There are scripts to add more API information. The users discover the service in the Apex portal. Now let's see the demonstration. Here is the Oracle Integration Console, which we use now to look for the integrations that I'm developing. Here is the integration used for the Composite app. Let's look at that. My integration is initiated by a trigger and has two operations. One to get all the accounts, the other to get details on an account. Here we see that it's invoked to Oracle CX Sales Cloud. I will add a call to Oracle Business Suite, which is an on-premise application. Select a connection to my Oracle Business Suite instance, and now I'm configuring the invoke. Giving a name to the invoke and a description. I will select the order management product from eBusiness Suite and use the Get Sales Orders Details API. Now I will map the account organization information from CX Sales Response to the input parameter of the Get Sales Order Details API. We are expanding the input parameters and now expand the response when you have the organization name and connect with customer name. Validating, and let's return to the integration canvas. I am composing the results in the response of my integration. I'm counting the orders from the eBusiness Suite response and including into the order count field. Now that I added eBusiness Suite to the composition and did all the changes that I wanted, I'm saving the integration. Now let's activate the integration we just added. Here it is, click the activation and confirm it. See, the integration is already active, now we can execute that. We have the option to run the integration, and here you see the access to the first method, get accounts. Running, the method doesn't take any parameters. Here is the response and the activity stream. Here we can select the other method for executing, get accounts. In this case, the method requires a parameter, which will have as one of the identifiers for an account. By running the integration, here you can see the response with the number of orders. Let's run it again, but this time we select a different account. And here it is, the response with a different order count. You can see both invokes in the activity stream. Let's take a closer look into my integration metadata. Now, as an external developer, I'm logging to the API Management Portal. The API Management Portal lists different services with different backends: .NET, Go, Java, Node.js, Python, and OIC. Let's refresh to capture the latest. Here is the Composite app we just deployed. Now let's inspect one of the services, the .NET. Here you can see the deployment for the .NET service into API Gateway. Let's inspect the endpoint, knowing that we are already authenticated. Here's the return of the API. It links to GitHub to get the implementation. Here is the source code. The portal also links to the API specification. Here you have access to the API metadata. with all the information and the links that are harvested from the API. Now let's examine the integration that we have created, Composite app. Here is the metadata information from the API provided by the application. Now let's see the endpoint. Once we are logged in, we can see the result from the API. Now let's see the implementation details, which point to the Oracle integration endpoint description with links to Swagger and OpenAPI definitions. Now we have discovered the service we want to use. Let's click on Spec. There is the OpenAPI definition, which you can save for use in the development project. Now we are saving the OpenAPI file. After saving the file, let's return to the API management portal. Here we are managing different types of services and have options for searching the service we want to use. After discovering the service and downloading the OpenAPI definition, let's develop our mobile application with Visual Builder. Here we have some existing applications and let's create a new one. Let's name the application External Composite App. Let's click on Finish to create the app. We choose to create a mobile app. In this case, it's a progressive web application. We have to start by creating a mobile application. Let's give it the name Accounts with a single navigation item. Now click on Next. Let's use the standard template. Visual Builder is preparing the page in Designer. Now we can see a preview of the user interface. Let's change the layout to iPad. Let's change the page title from the default value to Accounts. In order to display information in the app, let's search the component palette for Table. We drag the table component to the page template. There is some simple data now. However, we want to get data from the APIs we have discovered. That will require a new service connection. We are going to use the OpenAPI documents from the service we discovered as the specification for the service connection. The service name will be Composite App Accounts. The API type is OpenAPI. The specification comes from a document. Here we're using drag and drop of the OpenAPI document. Now let's set up the authentication scheme. We're gonna use OAuth 2.0. Let's start by adding the client credentials with the client ID and the secret. After this, I'm gonna enter the scope and the token URL. Click on Create. Once the service connection is created, let's go back to the page designer. Now we can add data to our table. This project can add data from its own business objects or the Composite App Account Service connection. The operation Get Accounts is here. Click on Next. Let's add fields from the service response that we want to see in the table. In this case, organization name, address list, and county. And here we define a primary key. Click on Next and then Finish. Now you can see a preview of the data that we have coming from the service. Let's add a detail page. In this case, we're going to use the Get Account service. Click on Next and select the fields you want to see: organization, city, county, and now the order count. And the order count we are bringing from the composition. Now we just change the labels to reflect what we want, as details, account for page title, and set the new page name. It's going to be Accounts Detail. Now click on Finish. Okay, after finishing, we can click the button for previewing the app. The preview is initializing. Now with the application load, you can see the data coming from the Composite service. Click on one of the account records to see the details, and here is the detail from the Composite, including the order count. Clicking on the back button, now you can see the query for all accounts again. You're going to be selecting a different account. Clicking on the account, here are the details from the account, including the order count from the Composite. Selecting back, and now back to the list of accounts. This concludes the demo that we wanted to show. Let's go see the summary. In this demonstration, we have shown low-code integration tool, integrating cloud and on-premises applications with easy mapping and composition. We use Visual Builder for rapid mobile application development using services discovered in an API management portal.